Imagine this. You open your refrigerator and reach for something familiar. A block of cheese. Maybe a container of something soft and white. To most of us, that's just a snack, comfort food, nothing special. But what if that little piece of cheese could help you walk more confidently, get up from your chair more easily, and even feel stronger with every passing month? It sounds hard to believe. Cheese doesn't usually make the list of health foods, especially for older adults. It's often labeled as too salty, too fatty, or something we should enjoy only in moderation. But some cheeses, the right ones, are packed with the exact nutrients your body needs as it ages. They're rich in protein, calcium, and something called leucine, an amino acid that plays a powerful role in preserving and rebuilding muscle. Now you might be asking, why does muscle matter so much? As we get older, many people start to lose strength without even realizing it. Simple tasks, climbing stairs, picking up grandkids, carrying groceries, become harder. This isn't just aging. It's a condition called sarcopenia, age-related muscle loss. It affects balance, mobility, energy levels, and, eventually, your independence. And here's the part no one tells you. You don't have to accept it. With the right strategy, a combination of nutrition and gentle physical activity, you can slow it down, stop it, and in many cases, even reverse it. That's not hype. That's what recent research is now proving. And it starts not with pills or powders, but with food. Real food, simple food, like cheese. For many people, especially those who don't eat as much meat anymore or have trouble chewing tougher foods, cheese can be a convenient, delicious way to get high-quality protein. You don't need large amounts either. It's just a few ounces a day. Of the right kind can make a real difference. The best part? It's not about giving up the foods you love. It's about learning how to use what's already in your kitchen, wisely, purposefully, and consistently, to support your body as it changes. In the next few minutes, we're going to explore 3 types of cheese that quietly carry some surprising benefits. They're easy to find, easy to eat, and can be added to your meals without complicated recipes or expensive ingredients. If you've been feeling weaker, a little more off balance, or just not quite yourself lately, this might be one of the simplest, most enjoyable solutions you'll hear about. Let's begin by looking at what's really happening inside your muscles, and why certain nutrients are more important now than ever before. As the years go by, it's easy to focus on things we can see. Wrinkles, gray hair, maybe a little extra weight around the middle. But what we don't see is often more important. Quietly, slowly, our muscles begin to shrink. This loss isn't sudden, and it's not always noticeable at first. Maybe your balance feels just a little off, or the stairs feel steeper than they used to. Tasks that once felt automatic now require more effort. This process has a name: sarcopenia. It begins as early as your 50s and accelerates if left unchecked. By the time many people reach their 70s, they've lost up to 1/3 of their muscle mass, even if their weight stays the same. That's because muscle is being replaced by fat and connective tissue, weakening the foundation that supports every movement we make. Losing strength isn't just an inconvenience, it's one of the biggest predictors of falls, fractures, and hospitalizations in older adults. And yet it's often overlooked in routine checkups. No one's measuring how easily you rise from a chair or carry a grocery bag. Even though those actions reveal more about your long-term independence than a number on a scale, but here's where things get encouraging. Muscle loss isn't irreversible. Your body still has the ability to build muscle, even in your 60s, 70s, and beyond. The difference is that it takes more intention, and more of the right nutrients, delivered in the right way. That's where food, and especially protein, plays such a vital role. Think of protein as the raw material your muscles need to repair and rebuild themselves. When you were younger, your body was more responsive to even small amounts of protein. But with age, your system becomes a little more stubborn. It needs a clearer signal and a higher dose to activate muscle growth. This is where many older adults unintentionally fall short. Breakfast might be toast and coffee. Lunch might be soup and crackers. Dinner carries most of the day's protein, but by then, your muscles have missed 2 opportunities earlier in the day to receive what they need. Instead of thinking of protein as something you get around to later, it needs to be the focus of every meal. Spread out in a way that keeps your muscles fueled, is protected and responsive throughout the day. But eating more protein doesn't mean eating more meat. In fact, that's where many people struggle. Chewing becomes harder. Appetite fades. Red meat feels heavy. And that's exactly why cheese, the right kind, becomes such a helpful ally. Certain cheeses offer high-quality protein in a soft, convenient, and easy-to-digest form. Some even contain special amino acids that directly support muscle repair. And unlike powders or pills, they come with the kind of familiar flavor and comfort that make you want to keep eating them. The goal here isn't to turn cheese into a miracle food. It's to look at it with fresh eyes, to see how a small shift in how and when you eat it can lead to real improvements in how strong you feel. When protein is delivered in a way that your body can easily use, and when it's spaced out across the day, your muscles respond. You feel steadier on your feet. Climbing stairs gets easier. Getting in and out of a car feels smoother. It's not just about avoiding frailty. It's about reclaiming strength and function in everyday life. Plenty of research now supports this. Older adults who eat 25 to 30 grams of protein at each major meal show better muscle maintenance, improved balance, and fewer falls over time. And in studies where participants added protein-rich dairy products like certain cheeses to their diets, the improvements were measurable, not just in muscle mass, but in energy levels and physical performance. This isn't about adding complexity to your routine. It's about finding smart, sustainable ways to meet your body's needs, even if your appetite is smaller or your meals are simpler than they used to be. The solution could be as easy as what you spread on your toast or mix into your breakfast. One of the most underrated sources of muscle-supporting nutrition is something you've probably seen 100 times, but may never have thought of as a health food. It's time to take a closer look at a cheese that's been quietly sitting in the dairy aisle, packed with protein, gentle on the stomach, and surprisingly effective at helping your muscles hold their ground. Cottage cheese might not be the most glamorous food on your plate, but when it comes to building and preserving muscle, it quietly does a job that few others can match. This humble, soft cheese is often overlooked, maybe because it brings to mind old diet plans or hospital trays. But don't be fooled by its simplicity. Inside that little white scoop is a powerhouse of muscle-building nutrition, perfectly suited to the needs of aging bodies. What makes cottage cheese so effective isn't just the amount of protein, though it does offer a generous 14 grams in just half a cup. It's the type of protein that matters just as much. Cottage cheese is rich in something called casein, a slow-digesting protein that provides your muscles with a steady stream of amino acids over several hours. That slow release is key. When you eat cottage cheese, especially in the morning or before bed, your muscles get a kind of time-release repair system. Instead of a quick spike of protein that disappears in an hour, your body receives what it needs gradually, the way it prefers to rebuild itself as you age. There's also leucine, a special amino acid that helps flip the switch on muscle growth. Think of leucine as the messenger that tells your body, hey, it's time to repair and strengthen. Cottage cheese has more leucine per calorie than many other protein sources, giving you a strong muscle-building signal in a small, manageable portion. And then there's practicality. Cottage cheese is soft, easy to chew, and doesn't require cooking. For anyone with dental challenges, difficulty swallowing, or simply not much appetite in the morning, it's a convenient option. You can eat it straight out of the container, or mix it into dishes without much effort. Some people prefer it sweet, stirred with fruit and a sprinkle of cinnamon. Others go the savory route, adding chopped tomatoes, herbs, or even avocado. And if the texture puts you off at first, blending it into a smoothie can help. You'll barely notice it's there, but your muscles will know. What's especially impressive is how this cheese fits into real life. You don't need to change your whole diet to benefit. Just adding a half cup of cottage cheese to your breakfast, especially within an hour of waking up, can jumpstart the muscle-building process that's been dormant overnight. Studies show that people who consistently include protein-rich foods like cottage cheese in the morning have better overall strength and fewer issues with balance and fatigue throughout the day. It's a small habit that adds up. One gentleman I worked with, a retired firefighter in his 70s, used to skip breakfast entirely. He'd grab a coffee, maybe a slice of toast, and then wonder why his energy would crash by mid-morning. When he started including a scoop of cottage cheese with some berries, he not only felt fuller longer, but noticed his legs didn't tire as quickly on his walks. Sometimes the answer isn't a major overhaul. It's a quiet change, repeated consistently, that does the real work. Cottage cheese may not make headlines, but for older adults trying to stay strong, steady, and active, it deserves a permanent place on the grocery list. And once it becomes part of your daily rhythm, it quickly earns its spot as more than just a side dish. It's just one small container, one small serving, and a few minutes of preparation, and you're already moving in the right direction. Let's turn now to a very different kind of cheese. One that's aged for years, incredibly rich in nutrients, and needs just a tiny amount to deliver a powerful effect. Tucked into the shelves of most grocery stores, usually in small wedges or grated into plastic tubs, is a cheese that's easy to underestimate. Parmesan. Most people think of it as just a garnish, something you sprinkle on spaghetti or Caesar salad. But Parmesan, especially the authentic aged kind, is far more than a flavor booster. In fact, it's one of the most concentrated sources of protein and bone-strengthening minerals you can find in such a small package. Let's start with its structure. Unlike softer cheeses, Parmesan is hard and aged, often for more than 2 years. During that long aging process, something remarkable happens. The proteins in the cheese begin to break down into smaller components, making them easier for the body to absorb. That's great news if your digestion isn't quite as efficient as it used to be. Just 1 ounce of Parmesan, about the size of 2 tablespoons when grated, delivers over 10 grams of complete protein. That's more protein than you'll find in an egg, but in a much smaller bite. For older adults who eat smaller portions or feel full quickly, this kind of nutrient density is a big advantage. It also contains almost no lactose. Because of the extended fermentation, the lactose is virtually gone by the time you eat it. So even if you're someone who avoids dairy because of stomach trouble, authentic Parmesan may still be well tolerated. But the benefits don't stop with protein. Parmesan is also loaded with calcium, a mineral that's essential not just for your bones, but for your muscles. Every time a muscle contracts, calcium is involved. Without enough of it, muscle function starts to lag, even if your protein intake is solid. 1 small ounce of Parmesan gives you about 1/4 of your daily calcium needs. That's a significant amount from just a sprinkle, and it can make a noticeable difference over time. Of course, flavor plays a role too. Parmesan is rich, salty, and satisfying. That means you don't need much to make a meal feel complete. A dusting on eggs in the morning, a spoonful on soup at lunch, or a generous grating over roasted vegetables at dinner. All easy. Delicious ways to add both taste and nutrition. When it comes to choosing the right kind, go for the real thing when you can. Authentic Parmesan, often labeled Parmigiano Reggiano, is aged for at least 24 months and carries a richer flavor and higher nutritional value than the pre-grated containers with additives or fillers. It might cost a bit more per ounce, but you'll use less of it. And because it's so nutrient-dense, that small amount goes a long way. In fact, many people find they're satisfied with just a few bites, making it both economical and effective. There's also something satisfying about eating food that's been crafted with care. Real Parmesan is made using traditional methods that have been passed down for generations. It's not just food, it's a link to history, culture, and time-honored nutrition that continues to serve us well today. And just like with cottage cheese, small daily habits add up. Including a bit of Parmesan regularly, even just once a day, can contribute meaningfully to your total protein intake, help maintain stronger muscles, and support better bone health. For people looking for a low-effort, high-impact way to support their strength and energy, Parmesan makes an excellent choice. No prep, no cooking, no special storage needs. Just cut, grate, or snack. One woman I spoke to, a retired nurse in her early 80s, said she started keeping a small container of Parmesan cubes in her fridge. A couple of pieces mid-afternoon became her favorite snack. She told me it helped her cut down on sugary treats, gave her more energy for her daily walks, and made her feel like she was taking care of herself in a way that was both nourishing and enjoyable. That's the goal here, not to build a new diet from scratch, but to quietly upgrade what's already there, with foods that are comforting, familiar, and surprisingly effective. We've covered the slow and steady support of cottage cheese and the concentrated strength of Parmesan. Now let's turn to a cheese that works quickly, one that delivers its benefits right when your muscles need it most. There's a certain kind of support your muscles need right after activity, whether it's a walk around the neighborhood, light gardening, or a set of gentle stretches at home. That's when your body is most ready to repair itself. And that's when fast-absorbing protein makes the biggest impact. This is where ricotta cheese comes in. Unlike the cheeses we've already covered, ricotta is made from whey, the liquid left behind during the cheese-making process. If you've ever opened a container of yogurt and seen a bit of clear liquid on top, that's whey. And it turns out whey protein is one of the most rapidly absorbed forms of protein available. What that means is simple. When you eat ricotta, your muscles don't have to wait hours to get the nutrients they need. Within 30 to 60 minutes, your body can begin putting those amino acids to work, helping repair muscle fibers, rebuild tissue, and support recovery. That speed matters more than people think, especially as we age. The older we get, the less efficient our muscles become at responding to food. But after even light movement, your body enters what scientists call an anabolic window, a short period where it's primed to absorb protein and rebuild more effectively than usual. Eating ricotta within 2 hours of physical activity helps you take full advantage of that window. In terms of numbers, ricotta holds its own. A half cup of whole milk ricotta contains about 14 grams of protein, on par with cottage cheese, but with a different profile. It's especially rich in branched-chain amino acids, or BCAAs, which are uniquely beneficial for muscle tissue. These particular amino acids bypass the liver and go straight to the muscles, where they're used immediately for repair and growth. There's also something else special about ricotta: its texture. Soft, smooth, and mild in flavor. It's one of the easiest foods to incorporate into meals, especially if you've lost interest in heavy foods or find your appetite isn't what it used to be. And because ricotta is naturally lower in sodium than many cheeses, it's a smart choice for anyone keeping an eye on blood pressure. You can enjoy it sweet or savory. Spread it on whole grain toast with a drizzle of honey and cinnamon for breakfast. Mix it with herbs and use it as a dip for vegetables. Stir it into pasta sauce to add richness and protein without weighing it down. Some people even add it to pancake batter or muffins to increase the nutritional value of their baked goods. One woman I worked with used to struggle with what to eat after her evening walk. She didn't feel like cooking a full meal, but she knew she needed something to refuel. She started blending a scoop of ricotta with frozen berries and a splash of milk, making a quick, satisfying smoothie that didn't upset her stomach and helped her sleep better. After a few weeks, she noticed it was easier to keep up with her grandkids, and she wasn't as sore the next morning. That's the kind of quiet improvement that builds over time. Small steps that turn into noticeable gains. When choosing ricotta, look for whole milk versions with simple ingredients. Ideally, just milk, vinegar or citric acid, and salt. Avoid overly processed versions with long ingredient lists or unnecessary thickeners. The natural version delivers the cleanest nutrition and the best results. Just like the other cheeses we've talked about, ricotta doesn't need to take over your diet, just needs to show up consistently, especially when your muscles are calling for support. With its fast action, easy texture, and gentle flavor, ricotta becomes more than a comfort food. It becomes a recovery tool, one that fits naturally into everyday meals and helps you stay strong, mobile, and active, with less strain and more ease. Now that you've seen how all three cheeses can support your muscle health in different ways, steady, concentrated, and quick, there's one more piece of the puzzle that makes them truly effective: timing. What you eat matters. But when you eat, it can make just as much of a difference, especially when it comes to protecting muscle. Many people grew up believing that dinner should be the biggest meal of the day. After all, it's when the family gathers, when the main course is served, and when the day finally slows down. But as we age, our bodies don't follow the same rules they once did. The muscle-building system becomes more sensitive and more selective about how it responds to food. One of the most surprising findings from recent research is this: older adults who eat a large amount of protein only at dinner don't build muscle as effectively as those who spread it evenly throughout the day. Let's say you get 10 grams at breakfast, maybe 15 at lunch, and then load up with 50 grams at dinner. That might seem like enough, but your muscles can only process a limited amount of protein at one time, around 25 to 35 grams per meal. Anything beyond that gets broken down or stored as energy, doesn't get saved for later. It's like trying to water your garden with a fire hose once a day. Most of it just runs off the soil. But if you water it gently, a few times a day, the roots actually absorb it. The same principle applies to your muscles. That's why the way you incorporate cheese or any protein-rich food into your meals should be intentional. Instead of saving all your protein for dinner, the goal is to hit that 25 to 30 grams per meal target more consistently, starting first thing in the morning. Breakfast becomes one of your best opportunities to make a difference. After a night of sleep, your body has gone for 8 to 10 hours without food. During that time, muscle tissue may have been quietly breaking down to provide fuel. Eating a high-protein breakfast flips the switch, shifting your body from a breakdown mode into a rebuilding mode. This is where something like cottage cheese or ricotta can be especially effective. A half cup of either gives you around 14 grams of protein. Pair that with a slice of whole grain toast, a boiled egg, or a small scoop of oats and nuts. You've got a complete, muscle-friendly breakfast, without having to cook a big meal. Lunch is another place where people often fall short. Many older adults eat lightly: a sandwich, some soup, maybe fruit, and unintentionally miss the chance to keep their muscles fed. Adding an ounce of grated Parmesan to a salad, or spreading ricotta onto whole grain bread with sliced tomatoes, can turn a light lunch into something much more balanced. Dinner, of course, still matters, but it shouldn't carry the full load. If you're already having meat, chicken, or fish, a sprinkle of Parmesan or a small side of ricotta adds flavor and extra protein without overloading your plate. This balanced approach, protein at every meal, spaced across the day, leads to better strength, more stable energy, and a stronger foundation for everything from walking to lifting to simply getting out of a chair. And then there's timing around movement. Even gentle activity, like walking, stretching, or household chores, creates a small window of opportunity. For up to 2 hours afterward, your muscles are more responsive to protein. That's when they're most eager to absorb nutrients and begin the repair process. Pairing that time with a small cheese-based snack can multiply the benefit. It doesn't need to be complicated. A few spoonfuls of cottage cheese after a walk, a slice of toast with ricotta after gardening, even a few chunks of Parmesan with a handful of almonds can do the job. One man I know, a retired carpenter, started a simple routine: a 15-minute walk in the morning, followed by a cottage cheese smoothie. By the end of the first month, he told me he felt less stiff, more awake, and more balanced. He hadn't changed anything else, just moved his body a bit and gave it the right fuel afterward. This isn't about perfection, it's about rhythm, consistency, gentle support day after day. And while the right timing makes the nutrients more effective, it also helps turn good choices into lasting habits. You begin to look forward to your breakfast, your lunch, your post-activity snack, because each one serves a purpose. Each one helps you feel just a little more in control of your strength, your balance, your independence. With this foundation in place, balanced protein, smart timing, and gentle movement, you're no longer reacting to the effects of aging. You're actively shaping how you move through it. Knowing what to eat and when to eat it is powerful. But sometimes the most important question is simply, how much is enough? Let's break it down. Experts recommend that adults over 65 aim for about 1 to 1.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight each day. That may sound complicated, but here's an easy way to figure it out. Take your weight in pounds, divide it by 2.2, and then multiply by 1.2. For example, if you weigh 150 pounds, 150 divided by 2.2 equals 68 kilograms. 68 times 1.2 equals about 82 grams of protein per day. You don't need to hit that number exactly every single day, but it's a helpful target, especially if you've been losing strength or feeling less steady on your feet. Now, here's where cheese becomes a helpful tool. You're not going to get all your protein from cheese alone, and you shouldn't. Variety matters. But these 3 cheeses can give you a solid base, especially when meat, beans, or eggs feel heavy or unappealing. A realistic and effective plan might look like this. Breakfast: 1/2 cup of cottage cheese, 14 grams protein. Lunch: 1 ounce of Parmesan grated over a salad or soup, 10 grams protein. Dinner: 1/3 cup of ricotta mixed into vegetables or pasta, around 10 to 12 grams protein. That's about 35 to 40 grams of protein just from cheese, nearly half your daily need. And the best part? These are small, enjoyable portions that don't feel like a chore to eat. If you're wondering whether this adds too many calories or too much fat, it's important to put it in perspective. The total calories from these cheese servings usually add up to around 300 to 400 calories per day. For most older adults, that fits comfortably into a healthy meal plan, especially when it replaces empty calories from snacks or ultra-processed foods. Think of cheese not as an extra, but as a strategic part of your daily plan, like a vitamin you enjoy eating. And just like taking a daily supplement, the key is consistency. The research is clear. People who added cheese regularly, not just once or twice a week, but daily, saw the biggest improvements in strength, balance, and overall function. Even without intense exercise, these small, steady changes made a difference. You can think of it like investing in your future independence. A few bites of Parmesan, a scoop of ricotta, a bowl of cottage cheese. These might not seem like major changes, but over weeks and months they build momentum, supporting your muscles day after day, so you can keep doing the things you love for longer. If you're ready to put this into action, start simple. Try adding just one cheese-based protein to your morning routine this week. Maybe cottage cheese with fruit, or Parmesan over eggs. Give it a few days, then build from there. Once it feels natural, layer in another. Maybe a lunchtime ricotta sandwich, or a sprinkle of Parmesan on your vegetables. No stress, no big overhaul, just one small step at a time, consistently. Because when it comes to aging well, you don't need a complete reset. You just need a plan that works for you, one that fits your tastes, your routine, and your goals. And when it comes to preserving strength, staying active, and living on your own terms, the right bite, the right time, really can make all the difference. Let's go one step further now, combining these new habits with movement to unlock even more muscle-building power. Strength doesn't just come from food. It comes from what you do with that food. When you pair the right nutrients, like the proteins found in cheese, with simple, consistent physical activity, something powerful happens. Your muscles don't just maintain themselves, they grow stronger, they become more responsive. And over time, everyday movements become easier. This is what researchers call a synergistic effect. It means that nutrition and exercise work better together than either one alone. It's not about lifting heavy weights or joining a gym. It's about gentle, meaningful movement that signals your body. We're still building. We're still going. For older adults, this could be as simple as standing up and sitting down from a chair 10 times in a row, doing push-ups against a wall, lifting light objects, even water bottles, a few times a day. Walking around the block or up and down the hallway. These may not look like much, but when done regularly, they send the exact message your body needs. Use these muscles or risk losing them. The good news? You don't have to do these activities every single day. Studies show that doing resistance-based movement just 2 to 3 times a week is enough to preserve and even rebuild muscle. As long as you follow that activity with the right fuel, this is where your cheese comes in. After light exercise, your body becomes more sensitive to protein. The doors to your muscle cells open wider, making it easier for amino acids to enter and begin repairing the tissue you just used. That's why the timing of your snack or meal matters. Try to eat something rich in protein within 2 hours of moving. It doesn't have to be a full meal. A small bowl of cottage cheese, a slice of toast with ricotta, a few chunks of Parmesan, and a handful of grapes. It's about giving your muscles what they need when they need it most. One woman I worked with, 78 years old and recently retired, created a daily rhythm that worked beautifully for her. Each morning, she did 10 minutes of chair exercises, some leg lifts, a few squats, using her kitchen counter, a stretch or two. Then she followed that with cottage cheese and a sliced peach. Over time, she noticed her legs felt steadier, and her balance improved when reaching or bending down. She didn't change her entire lifestyle. She didn't add supplements or hire a trainer. She just moved a little and ate a little. With purpose, the simplicity is what makes it sustainable. That's the goal. Another benefit of this approach is that it doesn't require perfect timing. If you go for a walk and forget to eat right after, don't worry. Just aim to build that pairing, movement and protein, into your week as often as you reasonably can. It's the regularity, not perfection, that delivers results. And even on days when you're not exercising, your muscles still need support. Cheese can still play a role. helping maintain muscle mass, reduce age-related decline, and give your body a steady source of energy and nutrients. There's one more bonus here too. These small routines often lead to bigger shifts. Once you feel stronger, you want to move more. Once you move more, your appetite for healthier foods grows. Cycle builds. One small win at a time. So whether it's a 10-minute walk, a bit of light stretching, or simply staying active with housework or gardening, the key is to move your body and then feed it well. Together, cheese and movement make a powerful team. Not flashy, not complicated, but deeply effective when practiced with consistency. You don't have to do it all at once. Start with a snack after your next walk. Try a little resistance with your morning coffee and follow it with a protein-rich breakfast. Let it become part of your rhythm, and you'll start to feel the difference where it matters most. In your strength, your confidence, and your ability to keep doing the things you love. As helpful as cheese can be for building strength, it's just as important to know how to use it wisely, especially if you have certain health concerns. Let's start with one of the most common: lactose intolerance. Many people notice that milk doesn't sit as well as it used to. Bloating, gas, or discomfort can be signs that your body isn't digesting lactose, the natural sugar in dairy, as effectively anymore. The good news is that the cheeses we've talked about are generally much gentler. Authentic Parmesan, for instance, is aged for so long, often more than 2 years, that nearly all the lactose is broken down. That makes it one of the safest cheeses for people with lactose sensitivity. Cottage cheese and ricotta do contain small amounts of lactose, but far less than milk. If you're unsure, try starting with a small portion, maybe a few spoonfuls, and see how your body responds. Many people find they can enjoy these cheeses without discomfort when eaten in moderation. And if needed, there are lactase enzyme supplements that can help too. Now let's talk about sodium, a concern for anyone managing high blood pressure. Some cheeses are naturally higher in salt because of how they're made. Parmesan, for example, has a salty flavor that comes from the aging process, not added table salt. That said, it's still smart to watch your portions. You don't need much to get the benefits. Cottage cheese can vary a lot between brands. Some versions have over 400 milligrams of sodium per serving, while others, especially the low sodium or no salt added types, have under 100. It's worth reading the label and choosing a version that fits your needs. Ricotta, on the other hand, tends to be naturally lower in sodium, making it a great option if you're watching your salt intake. Next, there's the question of cholesterol and heart health. For years, cheese was seen as a guilty pleasure, something to avoid if you were worried about your heart. But newer studies have painted a more balanced picture. When eaten in sensible portions, cheese doesn't seem to increase heart disease risk in healthy adults. The key is to focus on quality and quantity, choosing real, minimally processed cheese and sticking to the serving sizes we've discussed. If you're particularly concerned, part-skim ricotta and low-fat cottage cheese are available. Still provide the protein benefits without excess fat. If you take blood-thinning medications, such as warfarin, it's a good idea to keep your cheese intake consistent from day to day. Some cheeses contain small amounts of vitamin K, which can interfere with how these medications work if your intake changes dramatically. You don't need to avoid cheese, just maintain a steady pattern and inform your healthcare provider so they can adjust your dosage if needed. And finally, if you have kidney disease or reduced kidney function, higher protein intake may not be suitable for you. In that case, it's especially important to speak with your doctor before making any major dietary changes. Even healthy foods can place stress on compromised kidneys, so personalized advice is essential. These precautions aren't meant to scare you. They're here to help you use food as a tool, safely and effectively. Cheese can be a valuable part of your wellness plan, but it's not one size fits all. Listen to your body. Read labels. Talk to your doctor if you have questions. And remember that the goal isn't perfection. It's progress, one smart choice at a time. Up next, a step-by-step guide to putting everything into practice, with real examples, meal ideas, and a 90-day plan to help you get started and stick with it. By now, you know the what and the why. But the most important part is the how. How to turn this into something real, something you can follow, and most importantly, something you'll actually enjoy. Let's build a simple, sustainable plan you can start today and stick with for the next 90 days. Step 1. Stock your kitchen. Start by picking up 3 ingredients. Cottage. Cheese, look for low sodium or low fat, if needed. Authentic Parmesan block form, ideally labeled Parmigiano Reggiano. Whole milk ricotta with just milk, salt, and vinegar or citric acid. These are your tools, nothing fancy, just high-quality basics that do their job well. Step 2. Calculate your protein needs. Take your weight in pounds, divide it by 2.2, and multiply by 1.2. That number is your target grams of protein per day. For most adults over 65, this lands somewhere between 70 and 90 grams. Write it down. Keep it visible on the fridge next to the coffee pot, wherever you'll see it every day. Step 3. Plan tomorrow's meals. Aim for 25 to 30 grams of protein at each main meal. Let's walk through what a day could look like. Breakfast. Half a cup of cottage cheese with blueberries and a sprinkle of ground flaxseed. Slice of whole grain toast. A small cup of coffee or tea, approximately 25 grams protein. Lunch. Mixed greens, salad with cherry tomatoes, grilled chicken, and 1 ounce of grated Parmesan. Whole grain crackers or a slice of whole grain bread, approximately 30 grams protein. Dinner. Roasted vegetables with ricotta stirred in or layered in a casserole. Side of quinoa or brown rice. 25-30 grams protein. Snacks between meals or after activity. Try a few cubes of Parmesan with nuts. Ricotta non-fruit mini smoothie. Cottage cheese with cucumbers and a dash of pepper. Step 4. Add gentle movement. Commit to at least 2 to 3 short activity sessions per week. It could be a 10-minute walk, standing up and sitting down from a chair 10 times, wall push-ups, or light dumbbell lifts. Follow that activity with a protein-rich snack within 2 hours, a recovery bite as we call it. That's when your muscles are primed to use the nutrients efficiently. Step 5. Track your progress. Keep a small notebook or simple calendar. Each day jot down what cheese you ate, when you ate it, any movement or activity you did, how you felt that day, energy, strength, balance, or mood. After a week or 2, patterns will emerge. You'll notice which meals give you more energy, which snacks help you sleep better, which activities feel good. Step 6. Set your check-in. Circle a date on your calendar to 30 days from now. It's your first check-in. Then do the same for 60 and 90 days. These are your milestones. On those days, ask yourself, am I feeling stronger? Are everyday tasks easier? Do I feel steadier or more confident when moving? Even small improvements matter. They're signs that the routine is working. And if things don't go perfectly every day, that's okay. What matters is building a rhythm that fits your life, not someone else's idea of perfection. With just 3 simple cheeses, spaced wisely throughout your day, you're not just feeding your body, you're giving your future self a better chance to stay independent, mobile, and strong. Let's bring it all together with one final reminder and a message of encouragement to keep going. Let's take a moment to reflect on what we've covered. You've learned that muscle loss isn't just part of aging. It's something you can fight. You've seen how 3 simple cheeses, Cottage, Parmesan, and Ricotta, each play a unique role in supporting your strength, balance, and energy. Cottage cheese gives you slow, steady protein to protect your muscles throughout the day. Parmesan delivers powerful nutrition in a tiny bite, dense with protein and calcium. Ricotta provides quick support, feeding your muscles right when they need it most after activity. You now know how to space protein evenly across your meals, why breakfast matters more than ever, and how even light movement can enhance your body's ability to stay strong. You've also learned how to choose wisely based on your own health, from managing sodium and lactose to adjusting for medications or kidney concerns. But none of this matters if it stays on the screen. So the question is, will you take that first step? Will you try a scoop of cottage cheese with your breakfast tomorrow morning? Will you sprinkle a little Parmesan over your soup or salad? Will you stir ricotta into dinner or blend it into a smoothie after a walk? The decision is small, but the impact can be big. Strength isn't just about lifting weights or pushing limits. It's about feeling steady when you stand, confident when you move, and independent in your own body. It's about walking into each day with energy, not worry. And if there's one message to carry with you, it's this. It's never too late to start. Your muscles haven't given up. They're waiting. Waiting for the right signals, the right support, the right rhythm, you now have the tools. You don't need supplements. You don't need expensive programs. You need a plan that fits your life, something that feels good, tastes good, and helps you stay strong from the inside out. So here's what I'd like you to do today. Choose one of the 3 cheeses we discussed. Add it to your next meal. Pair it with a short walk, a stretch, or even a few minutes of light activity. Write it down. Your first step toward a stronger future. Then come back to this video in 30 days. Check in, see how you feel. If you notice a difference, no matter how small, keep going, because aging with strength isn't about doing everything. It's about doing the right things, consistently, with care and intention. And sometimes, it really is as simple as eating a little cheese. With purpose. Thank you for being here. Here's to your strength, your independence, and your continued journey forward. One small, powerful choice at a time.